pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we can have roll call, please.
Okay.
Here.
John.
Here.
Kelly. Verna.
Absent with notice.
Jan.
Absent with notice.
And Cheryl.
Here.
I didn't see here either, but I'm here.
Does anyone have any changes they want to make on the agenda? Okay, we'll consider the agenda approved. Move on to the minutes. Anyone have any changes on the minutes? No, because I have a couple. On page 4, 10.4, says I make the motion, it should say I move. And then 13.1, it should say I move to approve. Does anyone have any further corrections? Okay. We'll accept those as corrected. Call to audience. Does anyone in the audience like to speak to us regarding any agenda items? No? Thank you for coming. We'll have another chance at the end of the meeting if you have something to share. Okay, Laura, you're up.
Okay. It's been a very exciting month. And we received a check from the FOL for $6,500, which was wonderful. So we are already brainstorming on what we're going to do with that money. We have some pretty good ideas. And they also gave us another $500 separately for staff expenses like they did last year. So that was really, really nice. So we are very grateful. And I think Jan has an FOL report in here too, so I won't put too much into it. I met Kevin Scramblin, the new Groveland Township supervisor, came in for a tour, and I got to meet him and chat with him for a while about how things work between us and Groveland Township. So we had some ideas we went back and forth with, and he just had mostly a lot of questions about how it all works. So we are going to meet again and talk about it again. He has more information. And then Cheryl and I attended the North Oakland Chamber of Commerce annual dinner on Saturday night, and it was very nice. It was a very nice event. We were awarded the Nonprofit Excellence Award, and the awards are on the table there if you want to take a look at them. But it's the first year of this award, and we were the first ones to be honored. So that was very nice. It was really nice to be recognized.
Does anyone have questions for the director?
I have a question. Really, really, really quick. What is the policy between us and Groveland Township?
There isn't one.
Oh, that's really quick.
Right. There used to be a contract, but there hasn't been for a while. So right now, as it is, Groveland Township residents can purchase a card, a non-resident card for $100 and have full access to our library. If they get a card from Holly, they can check out 10 items, but they can't use our hotspots, our library things, those kinds of things. So that's where we are right now.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I had a quick question. You said you met with the DDA and they talked about things that could be improved. Anything interesting?
It was a group event. It was the Main Street USA. People came in to get feedback on how our DDA was doing. I think that I was kind of excited. I thought a community calendar would be a great idea. And they said they actually have something in the works that they're working on, which I think would be great. And the library would be included in that.
Okay.
So that was kind of a big deal. Was there anything Alyssa went to?
I don't think so, no. A lot of it is like the small business owners downtown discussing like what's working, what's not working. So some of it doesn't apply to the library, but the community calendar was, I think would be really good.
Okay. Trustee reports. Kay, do you have anything to share? Okay, John?
I'm still watching and learning.
That's fine. That's fine.
I attended the first Bites with the board gathering, which was, I think, a complete success. We talked without prompts for well over an hour, got to know each other. The only downside is, and I thought afterwards, is it's going to take a long time for all of the board members to go through with all of the staff. But it was a really good idea. I really enjoyed it. So thank you for organizing that. And of course, I also attended the Robert's Rules of Order training, which I thought was very interesting, although not all of it applies to small boards like ours. But I took away some things I didn't know, so that was good. That's all.
Okay. Kelly?
Also, I was in attendance at the Robert's Rules of Order as well, and I thought that our speaker was fantastic. Thank you for organizing that. She was really good, very informative, and yeah, there was a lot that didn't really apply to small boards, but there was a lot to learn. So I appreciated that effort. Thank you.
Okay, and I sent it out to you today, but just to remind you, the Michigan Library Advocacy Day is going to be on April 30th, and they have just opened registration. And if you look at the email I sent you, it gives you all the information. Verna and I have gone the last couple years, and I thought it was really worthwhile to go. There's a lot of networking that goes on, and you can see what other libraries are doing, and you get a good legislative update in the morning, so, and then you go out in the afternoon and you meet with your legislators, and I think that's always worthwhile to let them know we're out there and keep reminding them that we could use more money. So put that on your calendar and let us know if you're gonna register, and we'll typically carpool.
And that was April 30th. April 30th.
April 30th.
And the library does pay for it.
Yes, the library pays for it, it's in our budget. It's not a lot, I think it's like, what, $25 or something?
And you get a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I'm all about t-shirt.
So,
Is this like an all-day thing? Okay.
Yeah, we usually don't stay for the reception in the evening because our legislators in the past few years have not been going to that, so we don't stay. But you go in the morning and you get some updates, they give you some ideas on what to talk to the legislators about, then you have a box lunch, and then typically afternoon is when you have the scheduled meetings with the legislators.
Last year they had the bookmobiles, which was really.
Yes, and they're having them again this year.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
I assume it's in Lansing?
Yes, it's in Lansing. Okay, John, you want to give us financial report?
So we have 2 months to go through. So the check register for November, the only kind of non-recurring charge I noticed on here was the final balance on the youth garden door for approximately $2,700. Everything else is pretty much standard expenses. Any questions on that?
I just had a quick question. There's a negative number at the bottom with something. cleared or gonna be credited, or what was going on?
That I don't know.
Okay, well, we can find out. It's cleared by the next month, so it had to just be a timing issue.
So would that just be the total for the whole month was,
Sometimes it's just a timing issue on what gets booked and what doesn't.
okay, and what gets transferred?
Right.
Right. So they transferred $600 less than we spent.
Could be,
Would be my guess. Okay. And the balance sheet for November, again, nothing in my mind jumps out. Are there any questions? The income statement for November? Questions? We'll keep moving. Check rate, oh, we have to, do we have to approve expenses for November?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the check register.
it's on page 12. At the bottom.
Ah,
I'll make the motion. I move to approve November expenses of $110,741.67.
second.
Okay, roll call.
Kay?
Yes.
Kelly, yes. John?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Okay, then we can move on to December. Check register. Here I noticed two of the non-recurring expenses, the dumpster enclosures for a little over 7,000. They look really nice. And then the balance of the youth, the mural in the youth department for $1,250. Are there any questions on the check register? Okay. The balance sheet. The big change for December is that our taxes receivable are now showing on there. That's the winter taxes that got billed by, that we all got in the mail, and it's due in February. And then that's offset by the deferred revenue in the liabilities. So that was the big change to the balance sheet. Any questions? Income statement. Any questions? We have total expenses for the month, 102,508.14.
I'll move to approve.
Second?
Kay?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Kelly, yes. Cheryl?
Yes. And just a comment on these. The December statements are not final yet. These are considered a draft because the final adjustments that will be made for the auditor have not been done yet.
Okay.
So we won't really see a final statement until we get the audit complete.
And there were no changes to the budget limits.
On to committee reports. We have policies.
So there's been changes in the sick leave policy with the government. These are their changes, legal changes. They're going back and forth, back and forth. So, this policy, the policy committee, we met. It has been seen by the attorney to make sure that we are following what we are considering what the law is supposed to be. It is not finalized yet. So,
I'll correct that. It is law right now.
Okay,
but they're bringing new bills to change it,
okay,
just so we're clear.
right, okay. So, anyway, so this is what we have. This puts us in compliance to the law, assuming there are no further changes to the law. So, really, all of the wording that was changed is just to match the legislation, the legal descriptions.
Anybody have any comments, questions?
I have one,
Okay.
and that's on page, so that would be 21. The very bottom, item 6, where it says that the library may require medical proof from the employee's doctor when sick leave exceeds 3 days. Now, I was wondering if that also, or should apply to, because there's several ways you can use sick leave when you're not sick, or even when your family member is not sick.
Mhm.
Should we reserve the right to require proof?
I don't think legally we can. I can check with the attorney on that, to be sure. I think we can only ask our employees. I don't think we can ask for other people's medical information. But I'll check with them.
Yeah, some of them, like C, D, and E are all related, non-related to the medical. Like E is the closure of the employer's place of business.
Yeah.
I guess that would be us, huh?
Right.
I hadn't thought about it in that
Yeah.
context.
And just for context, the darker
Or if it's-
red that's underlined is the attorney's words.
Okay,
And the rest were my changes, just based on the law, so.
okay.
So for
That
him
was-
to make that stipulation, library requires medical proof. I think it's just for staff that we can ask for that, but I will double check with him. That's a good question.
Okay. That was my only question.
Okay, did you have any questions? Kelly? I just had a couple. On page 22, number 9, after it says regular employees, should we say regular full-time because that's how the charts are identified?
No, because we do have regular full-time and regular part-time.
Yes, but it says, then what would any other employees be?
Any other employees would include like substitute librarians or anybody that gets paid kind of here and there that are not regular employees, that don't work a regular schedule. Because we do have to provide them sick time as well. We don't have subs, but if we did,
We don't have any of those right now, do we?
no. But if we hired someone, it's basically anybody that we issue a W-2. So if we hired somebody for 10 hours a week in the summertime to do the gardens or something like that, then we need to have it in here that we do provide them with sick time, even if they don't.
Which is probably gonna be unusual, because like your example, that would probably be an independent contractor.
Yeah, but we have independent, I mean, we have Mike that does our IT, we have a contract with him.
Yeah.
We don't have to provide him sick time.
No.
It's anybody that we issue a W-2 to.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, we don't have any of those employees right now.
Okay, that's what I figured.
And if they worked 10 hours a week, they'd have to work 3 weeks to get 1 hour of sick time.
Right.
So, it's-
Right.
And then I had another question on item number 12. So sick leave has to continue to accrue, but we can set the limit on how much they can use in a year.
Right.
How did you pick these?
This is what we had. The 480 is what we had previously. So we just kept that the same, and then we upped the part-timers a little bit, just so it was,
Well, that was what we allowed a total accrual, but did we actually have what they were allowed to use in a year?
No, we didn't have a limit before.
Because, I mean, 400, that's 12 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's like 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time, isn't it?
It was a long time. But if somebody had 2 situations in a year where they had to have 6 weeks off in the
Well, yeah.
year and 6 weeks off at the end of the year or something.
Okay.
I can
And
see
then,
it.
and this 300 for part-time,
Mhm.
when they take sick hours, can they only take a total amount in a week as though they were being paid? Like if they typically get paid 20 hours a week,
Mhm.
can they only get paid sick leave 20 hours a week? Or can they say, I want to take 40 of my,
Usually it's only what they, I don't think there's a hard rule in here about that. Oh, actually there is. It does say in here something about you can't use it as like in lieu of vacation time.
oh, I get that. But I mean,
Yeah.
if, say they're sick for the whole week,
Yeah.
can they say, well, I'll take 40 of my sick hours instead of their typical week would only been 20?
It's never happened. It's,
Can you
yeah.
ask the attorney just to be
Okay,
sure?
sure.
I just want to make sure how, just so we know we're doing it correctly.
Okay.
I do have one more question. I thought I was done, but I'm not.
No, sorry, you already gave your chance. Go ahead.
Page 22, item 13. What does, could you define what front-loaded sick leave is?
Sure. So like when I was hired, I came from a job where I had been for a while. I had accumulated quite a bit of sick time, and then to come here and start with 0, the board offered me some front-loaded sick time so that I wasn't losing all my sick time.
So you used it before you earned it?
No, I didn't use it. I earned it. Well, I had it before I earned it.
You could have used it
Yeah,
before you.
if I needed to use it, I
Okay.
could have.
Do we need to define it in the policy?
The
Because I
front-loaded?
didn't know what it meant.
Oh. I don't know how I would even define it. I'll look into that, I guess.
Okay. That's it, now I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what else your literal term is.
Yeah. That's the term the attorney uses. So,
Maybe you could put an asterisk next to it and define it or
I don't
something.
know how I would define it, but yeah.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
I'll
say
come up
ask the
with
attorney, but.
Yeah. I'll ask AI.
It's really a way of negotiating a contract.
Call it an
New contract.
enticement.
Or even with a new employee, if somebody's coming in with, 20 years' experience and we want them specifically for that experience, then sometimes you have to negotiate to get them to come.
Right.
So that's one of the things, as well as offering, typically we'll offer some front-loaded vacation time or PTO time now too.
Okay.
Little bait on the hook. Maybe that's what I'll use for my definition. So this law is in effect, so, I
I'll
don't
make
really know
the
how to make
motion.
this motion, yeah.
I'll move to approve the sick leave policy as presented with changes, subject to it legally going into effect.
I'll second. Kay?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Me, yes. Cheryl?
Yes.
All
We should say that the Michigan law goes into effect
Michigan.
instead of it.
Okay.
Or say
Define it
as long
better.
as it stays consistent with Michigan law.
Mhm.
because, like I said, it's a law right now, it just hasn't gone into effect yet, and they're attempting to change it already.
Okay, ready to move on?
Okay.
Okay, so we're not making any changes to our reconsideration of library materials and programs policy. We brought this to the board in '22, and that was all revised with the attorney.
Is that I'm sorry to interrupt, but is that the last time we've looked at them?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So it's back up on the list.
okay.
There's two forms that go with this policy. There's the Public Services Manager Evaluation Report, and then there's the Material Program Information, the form that the patron fills out. We updated the Public Service Manager form, but we forgot to update the patron form to match the changes in the policy. So really, we're only looking at page 27 and 28 for approval, but we included the rest of the information just so you had it. The only change I will make is on page 28. I changed complainant to petitioner, because I just don't like the word complainant. But we need to leave that there, because in the policy, that's what they're referred as, is the complainant. So to keep it consistent, that I would like to keep that complainant, not petitioner.
Well, we'll leave it to you to remember that when we do
Yeah.
change it.
Yeah. So there's not a lot of changes, but when we changed the reconsideration policy, we included programming as well, which wasn't there before, so it was just kind of adding that part to this form.
So a question for you, this is not available to be done online?
No.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
No.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
Well, the only question I had was in the policy itself, but, and it's very minor, but I just thought it sounded, I don't know how to put it, but page 24, under procedures, the first bullet point is to say that the complaint would be sent to the director. It reminded me of being sent to the principal. I would have used the word referred, but if we don't want to
Okay.
change it, I'm fine.
Okay. Well, when it comes up next time, though,
Okay.
we'll remember.
Okay, Kelly, any questions, comments?
I have no questions.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept or approve, thank you, the reconsideration of library materials and programs policy and the request for reconsideration form as they are presented.
Second.
Okay,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Kelly, yes, Cheryl?
Yes. Okay.
Can I interject? We changed the minutes this month to not say I make the motion. You wanted it to say I move.
I move.
I move,
So,
I move.
Yes.
so we keep that.
We'll just type it that way anyway.
I move, not
I move. Okay.
First motion.
John, any report from the finance committee?
We met on January 20th. We talked about potential capital projects for this year. We talked about updating the long-term capital project list. We went over the financial management policies, and that was about it. Any questions?
Any questions for John?
No question.
Okay. All right. Did we have any communications to share on this? Nothing? Okay. No unfinished business. On to new business. Verna was going to make the report, and she's not here, so I will. Brenda and Jan reviewed the director evaluation and did not make any changes to the survey that we completed last year. So the timing of this is going to be, Shauna will be sending the survey out to each of us on the 31st. We will have to make sure that we complete it by the 10th, and she will remind us of that when the survey comes out. And then she will have the results available back on the 14th. So make sure you're on the watch for it and get it completed.
So
Are there any questions on the evaluation survey? Any changes?
I have a question.
Any adjustments? Yes.
So are these all yes, no?
If you see at the top, you do a rating.
Ah, okay.
It's like a
List.
ABCD type thing.
Okay,
It'll come to you electronically, so you
okay,
don't have to fill it.
okay.
And there will be room to make comments if you want to make comment.
Is there an option for, I don't know yet?
You
Because
can do
we
that
haven't
in
been,
comment.
some of us haven't been with the board for very long.
Right, right. You just fill it out the best to your ability, and you can put in your comments, whether you felt like you couldn't complete the question or you didn't know or whatever.
Okay.
Okay? All right, so be on the lookout for that. Okay, and as part of the director evaluation, Laura has asked for a closed meeting, and because she has asked, we have to give her that. So we have to decide whether to do that as a special meeting, or if we just want to go into a closed meeting during our regular meeting. So what are your thoughts?
In the anticipation on the length of time it will be? I mean,
There wasn't, what did we take, 20 minutes or something last year?
We usually do it during the meeting.
if it's 20 minutes, that would seem like it would be okay to be during the meeting, but I didn't know how long it was.
Yeah, typically about that long. John?
I think I remember being here last year. You adjourned the meeting,
You may have.
left, and came back. That's fine.
Kelly?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right, we'll just plan to do it as part of the meeting. So if we'll add that to the agenda.
Is this part of the February meeting?
Yes. So when you get the results back that Shauna will give us, then review that, because we'll have then discussion on it. Okay? All right. And the next new item is, oh, and we need to approve that we're going to use this survey.
I move that we approve this survey.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And we really don't have to do an action item for that agenda. Okay, and ad hoc bylaws committee. We are going to, in February, we typically discuss our bylaws. And I'd like a ad hoc committee just to review them before we get to our meeting, and then be able to give some notes to the entire board so we can have a more informed discussion. So would any of you like to be on that committee? Kelly?
I feel very nervous.
That's fine.
Okay, I'll join you.
How many do you need?
That's plenty.
Okay.
And I will meet with you too, just to show you what we've done in the past.
Okay.
So I will appoint the ad hoc bylaws committee to include myself, Kay, and Kelly. So can I have a motion to approve that?
I would have the authority just to appoint.
I don't. According to our bylaws, I have authority to appoint with approval of the board.
And I did notice that you
So that might be
mentioned your-
something we want to look at.
Okay. I motion that the ad hoc
You
committee.
move.
I move that the ad hoc committee of Cheryl, Kay, and Kelly be approved.
One second.
All in favor?
Aye. I did notice that you mentioned your name first. That was one of the things that came out of the Robert's Rules of Order training, right?
I did
That
notice
makes
that
you
too.
the chair.
Okay, and we're on to staff reports. Commentary, questions?
I did have questions.
There's so many pages to look at.
Even marked it, okay. Fran's report.
You have to tell us what page you're on.
I'm on page 35.
Okay.
The last bullet point. There has been a new directive for public service staff not to do any outreach programs for the month of January and February to keep the staff safe. Safe from what?
The road conditions and weather and cold and just not having out driving around.
Okay. I read that and my first thought was, oh my God, we have another COVID outbreak. And then my next question is on page 36, Jesse's fourth bullet point. I found a very interesting artist that does shibori. What is that?
You know, he told me in our meeting, and I can't remember because I had never heard of it either.
Okay.
I can Google it.
Jesse's fourth bullet point.
Oh, Sarah knows?
Shibori dye.
Shibori is a Japanese style of tie-dyeing. So if you think of tie-dyeing with multiple colors, this is done with indigo ink. So it's the same sort of resist patterns, and you dump it in the indigo dye, and it's basically a blue and white pattern. It's a Japanese technique.
Okay.
Thank
That
you.
That was it for my questions.
Okay, John?
What stood out to me was, and I always read these at least twice, was all the comments about summer reading and how excited all of the staff sounded, even in writing, how excited they are about to get planning for the summer reading programs. And to me, it also meant I was thinking about summer. So that was really nice. That's what jumped out at me.
And I had a couple comments. I really love all the comments made regarding our strategic plan, because that shows what we're doing specifically regarding that. And I particularly like, there was one on here from Alyssa on page 33. It said, and this is about the marketing committee, it says our next big project is researching if our weekly e-newsletter needs any revamping. What I liked about that comment is it gave me a little bit more information. And the same thing on, I marked another one. Oh, on page 37. Under Lori's commentary, the green part on page 37. It gave us a whole bunch of information on what kind of things they were talking about, what their ideas were. Some of the other comments just say we met and we worked on stuff. And it doesn't give us much idea on what it is. So if it could go a little bit more this way, I think that would be great. It helps us get excited because,
It's going to be a very long document.
well, I mean, just a few things. You don't have to list everything. You know, give us your top 2 things or something. It helps us be as excited about the strategic plan as staff is. Because I want our board to stay engaged too, as much as I know the staff is. I want us to be engaged too. And beyond that, it's just, you know, every time we get these, it's more and more pages because staff is doing more and more. And I like to read about the training too, because that's really important. All, you know, the different webinars or whatever you're doing. Okay. On to anything about statistics that you want to tell us, Laura?
Well, Shauna, if you look at page 40, did a great
I love
one of her
it.
beautiful graphs on the last 3 years of where we have fallen, what has done well and what has not done so well. So I'd say 2024 looks pretty good.
Do you have any commentary on on the red items, any particular red items?
Not necessarily. Some things we just don't have anymore. Down at the bottom, the online resources, the Mango sessions and Niche Academy, those are red because we got rid of them kind of mid-year.
Okay.
Because they just weren't doing that well. I think the study room has relieved our meeting room and community room bookings quite a bit, so those numbers are lower for that reason. But taking makes we don't, you know, that was kind of a COVID thing where we had little crafts for people to take with them, take home and do instead of doing here. So those have kind of gone by the wayside, except for I don't know if the spice of the month is going to come back. or
What
not.
about right in the middle of the page, the juvenile attendance, early literacy sessions?
Those are lower, and maybe Shauna can expand on this, but they're lower because we changed how we took those numbers.
I figured something like
Because
that.
the state
'cause,
aid
you know.
report asked for it differently, so we changed. So is there more to it than that, Shauna?
Only in the aspect of stage changed in 2022, so you'll notice that those numbers are empty in 2022, and then we changed to conform to that request to break out the early literacy, which is ages 0 to 5 specifically. So you'll see that replicated in 2023, where we've collected every single one of those numbers. Whereas before, we used to just lump everything into that juvenile. As long as it was 12 and under, it was all juvenile age groups.
So, but if you were to add the juvenile and the early literacy together, we'd still be down substantially in 24. Or am I reading that wrong?
I can kind of comment on this too. So you also have to pay attention to all ages. You'll notice that that jumped substantially in 2024. We've started to do, that was part of our last strategic plan. I forget the years on it, but was to do more all ages programming and like cross-generational programming.
Okay.
So I think that has to do with the less, we offer less juvenile that, you know, is only like 12 and under, and we do more all ages for like family programs.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense, okay.
The other, I have
Go ahead.
two other comments. First, Shauna, thank you for taking into consideration my color blindness when you color coded this for me. Thank you. She came and consulted with me before she chose the colors, so. And then second is, the other thing that jumped out at me was the door count, which to me means a lot more people are using the library or using it more often. To go from 33,000 to 37 to 42 is amazing. So that's because of the staff and the programs.
Okay. Anything else on the statistics? Okay, calendar review. February will be the review of the bylaws and the director evaluation. Does anybody have anything else that we missed off the calendar? Okay. Public comment. Does anybody want to share any comments with us? No? Okay, thank you. I show nothing on hold. And items for the next agenda, I only have calendar review unless sick time policy has to come back because the law changes. It could happen.
Directors review.
Well, we did director evaluation up under calendar, so.
Oh, okay.
Okay, if there's no other business, the meeting is now adjourned at 5:45.